yo, you're a rapper. Man, you're going to love Hamilton. And I was like, Hamilton? It's like, yeah, it's like a rap opera on Alexander Hamilton. And I was like, okay, I'm there for the carpool. I don't want to offend nobody.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Eli Bonilla, and this is Homies and Heroes Season 2. And I got a homie of mine. His name is Mitchell West, a.k.a. Street HYMNS. He's a battle rapper, and he's just an all-around great guy. Can't wait to jump into conversation with him and hear about his thoughts on the times and everything on the industry. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's see. All right, and good. Man, what is going on, bro? How's everything going up in Dallas and in your area? The world's falling apart in San Antonio, but how's it going up there, man? Man, we just got, this COVID stuff, bro, it's just gone crazy down here. So when I started Homies and Heroes, the season 1, I did 35 episodes, and it was easy to do 35 episodes because that new quarantine is different than the second quarantine where everybody was abiding by the rules. And so when they started getting lax, all of a sudden we had to spike, and now we had to jump back into quarantine. So the second quarantine is weird, but it was one of those opportunities. I was like, man, I got to jump back on my grind. I got to get Homies and Heroes again. And brother, you are my #1 draft pick, bro. We live this season 2, and you're the man. You're starting this off.
Let's get it. Man, I'm good, bro.
Hey, man, introduce yourself. Let the people know a little bit who you are, and then we'll jump into everything.
Absolutely. My name is Mitchell West, also known as Street HYMNS. I am a Christian battle rapper. I do music under the moniker Love Nindo. I am starting a nonprofit.
All right.
Yeah, I'm writing a manga. I am creating a board game.
Okay. Time out right there. I know that language. Obviously, I know that language. But you got to let the people know. And I was already prepared. I have it written down right here. Tell people why anime is such a high form of storytelling. Like, give a pitch on anime, manga, and also, anime in general, the cartoon.
Yeah.
Why that's such a high form of storytelling?
Absolutely.
Tell it to us.
Yeah, so the reason why anime is literally one of my favorite, I'd say, mediums for art is because the way that it deals with ethical, moral, philosophical, and sociological issues is beautiful because it almost combines all of those. And even the more humorous animes find ways to ask the tough questions through the anime, man, it was one. This isn't one of my favorite animes at all, but I forgot the one where it was the guy who literally was like on a killing spree and just like bang. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like the guy literally just was given superpowers. It was him and the old man, and the old man is kind of the hero. It's not a great anime, but for the anime to be based on the fact that, like, okay, here we have this guy who's on a killing spree, who kills over 1,000 people, literally randomly.
This is not Death Note, right?
No.
No, that's a whole other.
I would have known that, yeah. But he does that, and afterwards, he ends up saving the world. And so some people look at him as a hero, and I'm like, it's just interesting, So
wow.
It's just one of those things. It's like, how do we as human beings remember things when it's all said and done? Who were the heroes?
Wow, yeah.
And I think those types of questions are crucial today because we're in a place where heroes are being torn down, whether good or bad. We have somebody like a Bill Cosby, the face of Black family. Before his trial even began, he's already being excommunicated from the world, and his statues are being taken down. His awards are being taken out of colleges. Right. Yet you have Thomas Jefferson, who's the face of the founding fathers. He's on Mount Rushmore, He's
Yeah.
on money, and he's
Yeah.
also a slave owner,
Yeah.
rapist, pedophile. You know what I'm saying? All these
Yeah.
things, and he still stands. You know, and it's just
Yeah.
like, it's like, what kind of community and society do we live in? And I feel like, you know, those types of tough questions and just little things like that are always being addressed in anime, which is why anime will always be a high form of art.
And so, what would you say? Top 3 animes right now? Your top 3.
Right now,
No, not right
okay,
now,
well,
because right now has a couple of good ones, but all time. Your top 3 all time.
I'll do right now because a lot of people that are watching are probably gonna be more inclined to watch the ones right now. But I say
Okay.
Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
I'd say Demon Slayer.
Okay.
Now, Demon Slayer is amazing. It's short lived right now because it's just starting off. But when I tell you, the artwork is beautifully done. Like, you can watch it, you can catch, you can get. It's one of the most beautifully done, like, animes when it comes to artwork. It's and then I would suggest My Hero Academia.
My Hero is really good. Especially
now,
My Hero, I think it's easy for people to get into.
Yeah,
like,
those are all easy ones. I would say Naruto. Naruto's my favorite of all time, but it also has like over 800 episodes. I'm trying to get people. If I introduce to anime, I try to get people that can stay. You know, without like, oh snap.
Hey, that was the same way I feel about Dragon Ball Z, because I say Dragon Ball Z because I would never tell someone to start in Dragon Ball. You know, I did a watch party through Dragon Ball. I was like, this is so weird. Like, I can't get over some of, and then the undertones, like, in 80s anime, it was a whole different, like, the rules were completely different. There's no way they're getting away with that on at least cable television right now. But DBZ for sure. Dragon Ball Super I enjoyed a little bit. Another one, Hunter x Hunter, was great. Hunter x Hunter was great.
What's funny is I didn't finish it. Like, I've only watched what's available on Hulu.
Well, it was on, half of it's on Netflix, half of it's on Hulu, and then the rest you got to get on like Crunchyroll. I mean, where usually people, I remember Inuyasha, Gundam, One Piece. I know a lot, but the One Piece, Naruto, and DBZ all have like 800 episodes. So it's like, how do you even, where do you start them? And then where do you stop them? You're like, okay, it stopped being good after this. Like, there are some of them that are like, I don't know if you want to watch the other 200 episodes. I have a question next. This is my next question. You're a battle rapper, and you've been in hip hop. What is your thoughts on Hamilton? Have you watched Hamilton?
Okay, so
I don't. I just watched it yesterday, so I can't even talk like I'm a fan.
Okay, so here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I'm not a hater. Okay, maybe I'm a hater. I can be a hater. But here's the thing.
Go.
The context in which I was introduced to Hamilton scarred me. When you're on a road trip, there's certain music you like to listen to, right?
Right.
Hamilton wasn't my niche. But then I'm in like on a road trip with like the one theater black nerd and then a bunch of white people. And then they just start going in. I'm like, yo, what is going on? And they're all just...
Did you have any context to the music? Were you like, who is this?
No. Okay, so here's the context. It's like, yo, you're a rapper, man. You're gonna love Hamilton. And I was like, Hamilton? It's like, yeah, it's like a rap opera on Alexander Hamilton. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm there for the carpool. I don't want to offend nobody. So I was going in. I'm like, yo. It was a bit overwhelming.
Was passionate about rapping along too, huh?
Yeah, it was everybody. It was word for word. They all do it word for word. So that was years ago, but now it's like okay. But I will say, like, now that I actually can see the play, maybe it'll have better context. You know. So
you haven't seen the play yet?
I've only heard it.
Okay. I will tell you this. When I watched it, it was really good. Like, the production is fantastic. I mean, these people, you know, it's top notch, right? The rapping in certain parts, I was like, oh my gosh, like, they're really good. But it, to me, doesn't hold up as an album. Like, I guess people can enjoy it as an album, but like, for a hip hop head to listen to it and just be like, I'm just gonna put this. I'm riding to anywhere. Let me just put on. Oh, Hamilton seems like a good like a vibe I want to be on today.
That
Like
was,
I don't wake up saying Hamilton's the vibe.
they were vibing. Like they were vibing. Like look. No. You know who Hamilton me as of recent? BB.
What? Really?
BB Hamilton me, bro. You remember BB from the trip? Like she.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Like we were on the trip. We were on a trip to Tyler, Texas. We were driving, and then she Hamilton me. She starts going in. I'm like, BB, please, like, slow down. This is go back to Drake. We good. Like,
man, I don't know. It blurred the lines. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know that Hamilton was like a hip hop production. Like I didn't know, or rap. I don't know what they're categorizing it as, like an urban Broadway show, whatever they're calling it. I didn't know it was that. When we wanted to start watching it, I literally thought it was just going to be a play on like Les Mis, where it's just going to be an opera about the founding fathers. And it opens up and everybody's rapping and then everyone's black. And I'm like, what Hamilton are we talking about? And then my wife turns over, she's like, yeah, man, they just went out and they cast an all like ethnic group for this. And and she's like, yeah, that big black guy, that's George Washington. I was so confused. I was like, but which George Washington? And then I'm watching it in the context of like, I just watched it yesterday. So it's in the context of everything happening in our nation. I'm like, is this okay? Am I allowed? Has this gotten backlash? Are people canceling this? Are we praising this? Like, what? I don't know how to feel about it. That's why I wanted to like jump off and talk to you about it, because I was like, this is such a different. It's so different. I haven't even judged it yet because I am so out of my depth on what it
you would have been thrown off by my school's play. I grew up doing theater, choir, chorale, all those things. And in high school, we did Sound of Music. Bro, when I tell you the Von Trapp children were interracial, bro. First, I got casted as Rolf, the black Nazi. And then they switched me over to one of the Von Trapp children. And so it was me and then like 2 Mexicans, 3 other black kids, and then a white kid. We're the Von Trapps. And we're just sitting
there. Von Trapps.
Hello, farewell. I'll be the same goodbye. And we're just like,
I have no idea. I can't wrap my mind around that right now. This is too much. This is not right. I was like, the Von Trapps just had a heart for adoption. They're just like, we go adopt someone from here, from there, from over there. We just gonna have. They just like, it's just a show about a missionary family that just like along the way adopted all these kids, and it's about, at the end it's just about missions, and then they give their pitch. Y'all just give a pitch to missions. It's like, hey, we believe there's $50 in the crowd right now, $100 in the crowd right now. Come on, for Ethiopia, for Chile, for Colombia. Come on, I see you in the back. Raise your hand. Gosh,
got the what's it called? The orchestra in the background going in and they're doing it. Live orchestra.
Go, and then you have the preacher, the dad of the Von Trapps. He walks out. I don't know where you are in your life today, but I know with $5 a day, you could feed a village. A village, just $5. A village, a foot long. A village.
Yeah, bro, man. Yeah, I did show choir for 2 years.
Is that how you got into rap?
Mm-mm.
Did you use that to get better at rap, or did that like scratch a musical itch, or was that just something?
So my musical itch was scratched in elementary school where we started. We all had the recorders back then. So I don't know about y'all kids now, but back then in elementary, we all took recorder and we all played the recorder. You know what I'm saying? Like you were all right if you had the little tan joint that was like soaking in the water and it was cleaned off. That was the basic joint. Yeah. You was the man if you pulled in there with the gel joint that was see-through, the little blue see-through recorder.
The see-through? I was gonna say the see-through.
The see-through recorder, man. So I had I had the regular one. Anyways.
It's like the Nintendo 64. Who got to play with the purple see-through controller and who got to play with the gray one? There was two different classes of people. Anyway.
But yeah, so we all did that. But I was really really good at the recorder. And so it transitioned over to my junior high year. And I remember Miss Hale. You never forget the names of your amazing teachers, because they so into you and it just stays with you. So Miss Hale,
for sure,
taught us music, like we knew music, and so I knew how to sight read in junior high. We went and did competitions, and then we would like literally get sweeps. And we weren't the most talented group, but we had a great teacher, and she honed in on our talent. Then I transitioned over to high school, which is Mr. Hit. Same deal, you know. So we like, he just really was a great teacher, you know.
Yeah.
And I would have did it for more than 3 years if it wasn't for the fact that I was just hella annoying and hella immature, man. Bro, my teacher made me a deal in my senior year. He said, I will give you a 95 if you just don't go in my classroom. Like, so I would legit show up to school, walk in class. He'd say I'm here, and I was able to walk off and then go around the campus. Just so I didn't go in his class. Like, that's how annoying I was. That's how bad I was in that class. But I had fun,
bro.
You know?
Hey, but you had fun. He didn't. But you had fun. And that's what matters.
He had fun. He had fun. Like, it's crazy, man. I actually apologized to him like years ago, just saying like, hey man, I'm sorry I was such a bad kid, man. Like I didn't mean it, bro, you know. And he really was a great teacher, but he was also an easy target. Like, how do you balance the two? But yeah, so I started rapping at like age 3 though.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that, and then you're a battle rapper out of like the styles of rap, because you also rap like to tracks and stuff, but an easy target for someone that's quick-witted is just, you know, you can't help it. It's just, it's like, you know, you're putting candy in front of a chubby kid. It's like, come on, man. Like, this is too much temptation. Why you got to walk like that? Why you just got to be like that? Like, the way you're being it's just scratching. I just want to say things that are going to make me want to, or you're going to push me away. And I don't want to be that guy. So my question to you is this. My next question is this.
It's a mindset.
Go for it. Well, I was wondering.
I was saying that battle rap, it's like a mindset you carry, yeah, for sure.
But that's how my next question is, because you're a Christian battle rapper, but you don't always battle Christians. I think majority you battle are not Christians. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? And not only not Christians, I've watched some of your battles, and I heard the other people, and I was like, oh. I'm like, is Street gonna be okay walking to his car after what this man just said about him? I'm like, in any other context, we're afraid of Street's safety. But this is the context of rap, so we're letting this guy say what he's saying. So how do you navigate being a Christian battle rapper in that type of environment that's so volatile and at times just like straight up? It is straight up disrespectful for the sake of sport. How do you navigate that?
It's and like literally you said in the question, it's for the sake of sport. Anybody you talk to will tell you that battle rap is literally entertainment. I'll protect him on the way to the car. Appreciate it, Big Ro.
There you go. We just answered the question, ladies and gentlemen.
Big
live.
Ro, my fist for security. Nah, but yeah, so it's really entertainment, man. Like, if you notice, unless there was prior static beforehand, it's really just trash talk. And we really literally go in there with the mindset of, hey, who has the better bars? You know, there might be some angst there, you know, might be some bumping, might be a lot of like some little physicality, you know. It might even be people like they get offended and you end up seeing people start going up and like, you know what I'm saying, like intimidating each other. Shout out to Loso, he just joined. But at the end of the day, like, it really is simply entertainment, you know? So I've never felt threatened for my life after a battle. I think Loso can agree as well that, like, when it comes to battle rap, we understand there is a peaceful context behind it. And that's because there is such camaraderie and it is a community. And that's literally why I joined, because I saw the community. And when I think of reaching the four corners of the earth, I'm thinking, okay, what cultures are we reaching and what cultures aren't we reaching? What's easy to do is to judge a culture from the outside.
Right. Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people discourage people from joining the modeling industry because of the woes and the detriments that come with the culture. So it's like, oh, you don't want to go over there because this and this and this. It's like, yeah, if you've never been in it, all you can do is look at statistics and look at it from the outside. But there are people who are impacting and making a difference within the culture. So never, this is my encouragement to believers all the time, never judge a culture from the outside. Like, you have to be immersed in it, which is what the gospel says anyways. And I became all things to all men so that I could save some.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? What does it mean to become all things to all men? Obviously be in it, but not of it. But in order to be in it, you have to be the ecclesia, which means you go out. So you go out to be in so that you can save some by becoming some. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty simple.
Bars! That was so good. And so that...
Street only battles non-vegans. Yo, kick them.
That's true. Oh, hey, speaking of non-vegans, my wife was so mad when I put out the poster, the graphic, for you, that I didn't use the picture of you grilling in those sandals. Boy.
Or my sandals.
My goodness. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, I think it's on your page, but that is the most glorious of a picture. That needs to go on, like, the next time you battle rap somebody, that should be the picture. I would never, no one in their right mind would battle you with confidence. If you're confident enough to be on a graphic with that picture, that's just like, I'm home. I'm whipping up some stuff.
Yo, if I could gain the confidence like that, bro, I will pull up to a battle with that. And it's like,
let's go.
Sandals, bro. Like, he came with some grilling sandals. Nah, it's, look here, bro. Like, I'm already a vegan on the grills. Like, hey, bro, you didn't eat that. How you gonna serve it? I'm like, hey, look at the shoes. And they're like, oh.
Dude, that's too much, man. Dude, okay, so you said something that was really, really profound to me, where you said the problem with a lot of people, and I don't think it's just, it definitely is applicable to Christians. I think it's applicable to everyone across the board, is we have just this built inside of us, this built-in prejudice to overgeneralize and oversimplify a certain group of people from the outside looking in. And more so than ever, it's evident by everything that's happening right now. We're judging people, and honestly, we're judging people through news sources and social media. The same thing that we claimed we don't believe, we know is fake, we know is biased, or we don't believe people on Facebook, but we're still using those lenses to judge certain groups like Black Lives Matter, groups like, you know, the others, or the church at large. How have you seen that playing out in real time, where you're like, man, these people, you can tell they're not having conversations with each other, or they're not friends with anybody that's a part of that movement, or like ignorant things being brought up. What are you sensing? What are you seeing right now?
I see a lot of racial reconciliation conferences. I see a lot of racial reconciliation meetings, talks within the church. And I'm like, okay, where's the solution?
That's good.
Like, we we can keep talking about it.
Right.
Like, this is my quote. I'm riding with this season. We grew up in the age of information at this point. The last few years have been the age of information, and we've been well informed.
Right.
Everyone has the statistics. Everyone's heard all the talks in the debates. We've all heard it. So is it the fact that we have to keep on pushing information? Because what I saw when Ahmaud Arbery was killed or murdered, and what I saw when George Floyd was murdered, was people who are my white brothers and sisters who've been on one side of the spectrum say, man, that hit different. Because what group of people do you know likes to run in the morning?
Hmm.
White people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Typically. So it's like, wait, you mean to tell me this man that did not feel safe when he was simply on a run?
Hmm.
That hit home for them. And so it's
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
man. And so I literally start seeing people change their demeanor even online. It wasn't because
Yeah.
they learned something new. It's because of what? A
Hmm.
relationship.
Yeah.
They felt something different. They empathize and sympathize with the situation.
Wow.
And that's the thing. I know of people who legit have black friends growing up that would never know about their struggle simply because they never had a conversation. And so by the time something bad happens, you tell your friend, oh yeah, I got pulled over yesterday. For
Yeah.
what? I was outside your house. What do you mean
Yeah.
you're outside my house? I was sitting outside your house and somebody called the police on me.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? How could
Yeah.
they do that? And it's like, wait, we've been friends for years. This happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Tears. And it's
Yeah.
like, wait, when it's able to hit home, that's when
Yeah.
there's a, dag, I never knew. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so literally it's the situation with Peter and Cornelius. Or
Mm-hmm.
Paul and, or it's Peter and Cornelius.
Mm-hmm. It's Peter
Peter, who's
Cornelius.
called Peter Bar Jonah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's
Mm-hmm.
possible his father was actually named Jonah, but I actually like to think in the same way he was called son of Satan, and him being called Bar, son of Jonah.
Yeah.
What was Jonah's issue in sin? Jonah was a racist as
Mm.
well. Jonah didn't
Yeah.
want to go and speak to those Gentiles, those unclean
Right.
people. And by the time he
Wow.
did, he was like, he had more care for a plant than he did for a human being. And so
Wow.
then we see Bar Jonah, that same spirit being played out in Peter. And it wasn't until he was able to be impacted personally and say, oh, snap, this food is good. Wait,
Yeah.
if the food is good, how am I not treating this people as good?
Wow.
Do not call what I've called clean unclean.
Right. Wow.
You know what
Dude.
I'm saying? So it has to be that relationship. We could keep doing these racial reconciliation conferences and meetups and
Yeah.
panels. And I'm like, bruh, if you're not going to go out there and say, hey, let's go pull up to the hood and have dinner at your house.
Right.
Nah, they ain't going to do that. Why? Because
Right.
it's unsafe over there.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
what does it mean to become all things to all men?
Come on.
It means to bear all things.
Yeah.
Pull
That's
up
facts.
to where I'm at. Pull
Facts.
up to where they're at. In the
Yeah.
same way, it's like if you're willing to meet up at Starbucks and get and talk about things, you know what I'm saying? Pull up to the person you're trying to get to know. How will you ever know them if you don't even understand or embrace their culture?
Whew. Bro,
You'll
that
never
is
understand
fast.
anybody if you don't choose to embrace their culture. So we gotta
Yeah.
literally embrace each other's culture and don't just push it aside. You know, I saw a dope little TikTok joint about a lady addressing Ebonics and how the white school system basically discourages our language, you know, and which is Ebonics. You know,
Right.
it's like, oh man, don't say finna, don't say it's like these aren't words. Ain't a word. I remember that was like a big thing back then. You say ain't
Yeah.
is not a word, and it's like,
Yeah.
but it's in a dictionary now, teacher. So
Yeah.
what you gonna do about it now? You know?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and by doing so, you're discrediting a part of us. You know, so how do we navigate and say, all right, why do we make certain things standard? Why is straight hair standard with that if I go do an interview?
Wow.
You know, I was talking to my friend who's an orthodontist, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I never knew the aspect of how orthodontists and racism was in play. Typically, black people have bigger lips and our mouths are, you know what I'm saying, they go out like this. But orthodontists will, when they do braces, white people typically have teeth that go like this. And so it's like, if your teeth don't go like this, what they'll do is they'll change our mouth structures to fit a certain way. And it's like, oh, well, you know, but at the end of the day, the only way you can tell a white person and a albino person apart is the bone structure. You can say, oh, that person's black. The skin looks exactly the same. It's the bone structure. Our faces are built differently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Simple as that. And when you say, oh, well, the standard is straight over top rather than, you know, ours is like this, then you're literally changing our face structure. You change the face structure, you then cause fevers later on, and you then cause back pain later on in our lives and stuff like that. But we have to say, okay, what? And she was like, hey, me as a black orthodontist, they tell me to use these tools, and I'm like, hey, you're not going to get the same pictures you do, and you're gonna force it. And then like she was telling me how one of her coworkers like, hey, you know, you're not getting the canines right, so you have to just like do more work and force them to get the pictures. Like, you're not going to get this picture on a black face. And so she tried to get it, and she was like, man, she saw the patient literally cringing because it's like the tools weren't built for them, you know. So. And I'm like, man, I've never thought, and I had this conversation on Sunday, I never thought even something as small as orthodontists had racial standards. And the standard is typically white standard, you know, because that's the society we grew up in.
Yeah. And so how do we address these? I think they're right. We see them as the general narrative that, you know, these things were built with the Anglo in mind. Do you think there is an issue? I think, well, and I'll say it this way, because we have this rising of cancel culture, right? Where we all know is good for, yay, they're getting the pedophile finally, and like active, not like, you know, someone joked about something 5 years ago, or exactly that. Oh, one thing that was said. Or the way that they got, what's his face, Chris Hodges from Church of the Highlands, he liked one of a Republican, a heavy MAGA person's tweet, and he got canceled for that. And now you have things like where they're grabbing different names of different things or things that were connected. Like, do you see us solving all those things? Do you think those are fights worth having? You know, worth conversing about? And if so, how do you think people should go about that? Because it's a lot. Because I'm like, there are things that they're like, that thing's racist, by the way. And I was like, oh, I never knew. Like, I was like, what?
Yeah.
So how do you think that should be handled?
Don't for a second think we're not the same human beings that were in the Colosseums telling people to be murdered. We are the same humans. Yeah. We're a mob mentality. So when we have the opportunity to see bloodshed, we're going to shed blood. That's the mentality of the human mind. Yeah. It's very savage, and it's very, very mob-like. And it's like, wow, what is this message of compassion? What is this message of mercy? What is this message of grace? And you only find that in the gospel, you know what I'm saying? In a way that has unity in diversity, as Ravi Zacharias would say. And so for me, when I'm seeing things like that, I'm like, how do you solve it? Man, like, cancel culture is so inconsistent. It has no standard. It literally has no standard. So you're literally seeing people being canceled, people being removed from the culture when they're literally just being themselves. And how are we a culture that will tell people, hey, even if you're genetically one way, I can claim to be something else, and because I claim that, y'all now have to acknowledge that. And it's like, okay, well, you can claim that, but I can't be black and Republican. I get canceled for that. That's just interesting to me, you know. And I'm not a Republican nor no Democrat, but it's just something I look out from the outside in, you know, because I don't really do politics like that. I'm like, wow, this is interesting that we can be inconsistent like this, but not even recognize it or address it. But I think that when it comes to how myself and my white brothers and sisters can do better is develop genuine relationships, you know. And you develop genuine relationships where? On the battlefield. The reason why the movie Remember the Titans is such a dope movie is because you didn't see them unifying until they started shedding blood and shedding tears together. When you have a common goal, a common fight, and you're on the field, the mission becomes more than your mindset. Because it's like, all right, for this mission to be completed, we all have to be on one accord. If we're truly having a common goal, and you'll forsake your own mindset for the sake of the mission.
Wow.
Literally, you'll do what it takes. to see the mission done.
Yeah. Would you say, and I've seen this, and I want to hear your take on this, that we're especially when it comes to police brutality, what I'm seeing is that we're becoming more anti-people than we are becoming anti-system, which my assumption was, hey guys, we want to either dismantle the system, change the system, reform the system, however you want to label that. But this is sounding a lot more and more like we are hating people. Like, are we hating people right now? Because the moment, right, and to me, there's a difference between anti-racism and anti-racist, right?
Yeah.
Racist talks to the person, right? And racism talks to the ideology. Do you think that we're blurring those a little bit now that we're fighting for equality and justice, that we're not just fighting injustice or inequality, we're fighting people? Like, do you think that we're getting lost in that, or am I reading that wrong? Because I really feel like I'm reading it in a way that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree. The tough thing is when you're dealing with a system, you have to address the individuals, because
Right.
the danger would be to group everything up together and be like, oh, y'all are this,
Right.
When I look at, so here's the thing, when I look at the system and how it's built up, it's actually pretty good in the aspect of what's written down.
Right.
Literally, they're required to be what? Public servants. How
Right.
are we in a place where if I call you a servant or a public servant, you get upset at me and you have to enforce? You're an enforcer. You're an officer. You're the force, police force. You know what I'm saying? What's up with all these words and these terms when really your job is simply to public and serve, protect and serve. But when your job is protect and serve, but you're taught to be an enforcer, all the laws that's written down, because that's what the court of law is to say, okay, what's written down? Did you act out what was written down? And if you didn't, then you broke the law. But the issue is when you have a system that says, hey, when police are put in court, it is innocent to proven guilty. But when police against a citizen is put in court, the citizen is guilty or neutral until proven innocent, And so because of that, it's like you're protecting those who are supposed to be the protectors rather than protecting the people who are the people. We are the ones who the system was built for. So I think that it's not an ineffective thing to say, hey, go get Breonna Taylor's killers, murderers.
Right.
Why are they still free? Those are individuals we're looking at, and we're saying, all right, these individuals are wrong. But here's the deal. Why do you think they haven't been taken up yet? Why do you think they're still on the loose? Because by doing so, you acknowledge the fact that, man, if we get them, we got to get a lot more people. And so what they'll do is they'll ride it out. They'll ride it out. They'll ride it out. In the same way, you see, I watched a documentary of it was like these people that basically, I forgot what it's called, but it was an Indian lady, and she basically would, to boost her numbers and make herself look like a great reviewer of all the drugs that came in, she would basically put, if it was like a little powder, it could be sugar. She put heroin. It could be cocaine. She was responsible for over 30,000 people in jail, in prison. Now, after they started reviewing her cases, they realized, man, we got to let 30,000 people go. But they didn't want to. In fact, they let 1,000 people go. And in the midst of them being released back to their families, they were like, put them back in. And they went out and got them again and put them back in. And then years later, they finally put them back out. And so for me, I'm like, that just shows you that when the system has to admit it's wrong, time stretches. Time stretches very long. And you have to say, hey, what if this monument we've been hailing up, what if this Confederate flag we've been waving this entire time has, like, the Confederate flag conversation is not new.
Right. Yeah, you're
How
right.
many years did this last? Like,
That's
this is
good.
offensive to us, yet it's
Yeah.
still up.
Yeah.
So I think that when we do things like address the individual, it
Yeah.
forces the people who are the law upholders to say, if we give them this one, we got to give it all. That's exactly it. And so I think the pursuit of the individual isn't a wrong thing, but the pursuit of the
Right.
individual shouldn't be lost with the mindset that we're actually addressing the system by pursuing the individual.
Yeah. And man, that's such a that it feels like such a tightrope,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, and especially with social media, I'm like, gosh, at times it feels like we're destroying people, right? We're destroying one another, but we absolutely know that there are scumbags in the police department. Absolutely. And any point in any leadership structure anywhere, you're going to have people being people. And throughout history, the track record of people being people is atrocious. It's awful. And man, like that's I think the biggest struggle for me is, you know, how do I not get so drawn into the pain feels so bad I just want to swing on everybody. You know, like, which I
Yeah.
think for a couple weeks there, I think everybody was just swinging on everybody. I don't think anyone came out without a black eye on social media or with friendships or family members, because it was just gloves off. Everyone say how you feel, because, you know, the videos that were surfacing for those 2 weeks were just awful. They were travesties. And I definitely feel like there is a spot for the church in this. Now, Street, where do you feel like the church has dropped the ball, or has the church dropped the ball in being at the forefront of these movements?
Oh, we dropped the
And I don't
ball.
just want to talk about
Oh, we dropped the
white,
ball, bro.
well, we can talk about white evangelical church, but churches, I guess
Church in
churches
general.
at large, you know, church in general. Can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit to that as well?
So this is a little bit humorous, but I don't know if you saw. It was pretty popular. The little like meme of the Avengers, right? And then like when black people were struggling, like we represented Captain America, and then you see the little meme of Spider-Man, Batman was on the front lines, Elmo was on the front lines, the Wiccans were on the front lines, the Amish people were on the front lines, LGBT was on the front lines. And it's like you have all these lists of all these people, but minus on the list was the church.
Yeah.
Because what was the moment you said, man, the church is behind this? What was that moment? Like what
Good point.
What hailing moment did we have as a people, as a group?
Right.
What was the like? We should have been viral. We're big enough to make ourselves viral. What did we do?
Right.
What did we do?
Wow.
And so for me, I'm like, all right, if we're not willing to be on the front lines, what's funny is, here's the thing. Everybody always talks about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was just as much a social activist as he was a preacher. He never separated the two. In fact, some of his most powerful messages were on the pulpit, in the church. All we do is hear the recording. But if you see the visuals, he was in the church talking that talk. And so when he's talking a talk about, hey, let's be peaceful, but also let's affect the economy by doing economic withdrawal. Shout out to Black Dot Day 2020, which is what it is today. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't buy anything today. Only buy stuff if it's black owned and black business. Why am I saying this? Well, because at the end of the day, that's the same thing Martin Luther King would say. And the thing is, I posted that on my page. Some people get offended because it's like, man, it sounds like you're anti-white. I'm not anti-white. I'm pro-black. But I also understand that Martin Luther King was somebody who had a 2/3 unacceptance rate within the culture. And for him to have 2/3 unacceptance rate within the culture of his time, maybe if Martin Luther King was alive today, people would still be offended and not like him.
That's so true.
You know what I'm saying? But Martin Luther King, when we think about him, we think of the preacher. He was a social activist, but he was a preacher. And I'm like, all right, if we can have somebody like that on the forefront, and like, who is that for us? Because I know that whenever something bad happens, we waiting for Louis Farrakhan. And I'm like, Reverend Al Sharpton. Reverend, what church Reverend go to? What church does Reverend Al Sharpton go to? Anybody know? I'll give you
He
$10.
just preaches funerals. The last time I checked,
Bro,
he just
what
at
church
funerals.
is he a part of? So for me,
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, if we're really gonna be
Right.
culture, like the thing about the church was it always set the tone for culture. And we've always set the tone for culture. A lot of times in a negative sense, most times in a positive sense. But at the end of the day, we were supposed to be on the front lines. To this day, we're still supposed to be on the front lines. And I'm having all these conversations. People are calling me up, you know, because they like my voice, or they appreciate the fact that I love diversity. They appreciate the fact that I don't just have white friends, but I'm on the front line with white friends. I love that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, all right, we can have all these conversations, but if they're only done behind the scenes, what good is it?
That's so true.
Will you get on your pulpit and proclaim the good news?
It's good.
And the good news is redemption. And redemption leads to equality. You can't have equality if there is marginalization. So if we continue to ignore the marginalization and unfair treatment within our society, we're not preaching the gospel. Simple as that.
Right.
Wow. Simple as that. And so for me, when I'm seeing the lack in the church, I'm like, all right, bet. What does it mean to be on the front lines?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we need more streaming numbers on Sundays. It doesn't mean we should try to get more members and make sure we're pushing for more members equating more tithing. It means we have to be boots on the ground. If we're still willing to go to stores, if we're still willing to go to these social functions, if we're still willing to put on these dope events that are private, how come we're not willing to get on the front lines? Like I just want to see the church come together and be on the front lines. And here's the tie up. The people who I'm seeing willing to be on the front lines, looking like my age and your age.
That's right.
Especially Generation Z. The passionate Generation Z believers I'm seeing, oh man, they're ready to go. No education, no theology, but they're ready. Like, man, why are we not? Let's go. And I'm seeing them go out there. And I'm like, I can't be mad at you. We ain't training you up. We didn't prepare you for this. All you got is passion. Hit the ground, youngin. I can't be mad at you. I can't be mad at you. Because the people, the elders, learning. They're just learning, soaking up knowledge and never giving it out. And so I'm like, yo, man, like, what can we do to come together amongst each other? Because I'm like, if we don't have one accord minds, like I said, one accord, if we're not on one accord, what was the prayer when Jesus was about to be crucified? He said, my prayer is that they be one. I think he said it 3 times in that prayer at Gethsemane. I just want y'all to be one. How can we be one when we are suffering on the front lines? And I'm looking back like, what a home team at?
Yo, that's real talk, man. I heard one of my mentors, Bishop Bronner, he told me this way. He reminded me of the story of Samuel getting left right at the temple, and the time where he hears from the Lord. And the story is he hears from the Lord. He's sensitive enough to hear from the Lord, but he's too inexperienced to know it's the Lord. So he needed Eli, right? He goes to Eli, says, Eli, did you call me? Eli says, no. He goes a couple times. Eli finally gets it. He's like, oh my gosh, that might be God. And he tells him how to approach the voice the next time. And I believe we have a generation that's sensitive to the times, sensitive to what the Spirit's doing, but is too inexperienced to really understand it, and needs the older generation that has all the experience in knowing the voice of God through a lifetime of struggles, which, I mean, my grandfather was in the States in the 40s. My grandfather knows what the United States looked like in the 40s as a Mexican immigrant, right? And he has all the experience through the civil rights. He has all the experience through so many things. And it's this saying, and I think Craig Rochelle said this, freedom without direction equals frustration, because you have all the room to run, but you're not running anywhere. You're just getting tired of running. And a lot of the generation just running and we're passionate. And obviously you see the frustration of the people like, we can't change the system. Let's burn this place down. That's frustration. Why are they burning that place down? because there was no direction to the promised land given to the people that have been in search for the promise their entire life, that have been marginalized and been hurting so long. And so I appreciate voices like yours that are so loud and with your platform, and you're just willing to speak about it, because right now, especially Gen Z, she's looking for direction. They're looking for someone with a little bit of experience. And if it's not going to be that people that are that much older, at least you and myself, for Gen Z and Gen Alpha coming up, you know, that we can start to point people in a direction and say, hey, I'm not going to run this for you, but I can tell you don't run that way, right?
Yeah.
Like, you'll fall into that. You'll fall into hate easy over there. You'll fall into more prejudice easier over there. You know, take our scars into account and follow, you know, maybe some path that we laid out. Man,
So
the hour is almost, but I want you to finish with a final thought, because I know that you can give a home run.
I always got a final thought, man. But yeah, I was just gonna say, at the end of the day, we grew up in the age of information, and they're going up in the age of application. One thing I'm learning about Generation Z and what will be Generation Alpha, like I say this loosely, but like in a literal sense, the education information aspect they don't really care about. They are a generation of feeling. So it's like, all right, bet. Why was XXX Tentacion so popular? Nothing he said was beneficial or positive. Nothing. But what he said was something that somebody was going through. And so when he's talking about depression, he's talking about suicide, he's talking about anger, frustration. He didn't give any answers and say, well, this is how you get rid of it. He was just saying, I feel sad sometimes. And so literally a generation of people were like, man, I feel that same exact way. You get me. And so this is a generation of people who embrace feeling so heavy that depression is almost a standard, to where when you're talking about a group of people are feeling hurt, a group of people are feeling marginalized, a group of people are being attacked, that generation said, man, I felt that same exact way. Yeah, I'm gonna fight with you. Come on. You know what I'm saying? So Generation Z is literally a generation that's like, man, for the sake of making you feel better, I'm going to be where you're at. You know what I'm saying? They do a great job of becoming all things to all men when it comes to where the heart is at and the feeling is at. And so I think that if we're going to continue in not just growing together, but we have to literally embrace each other, because in the same way there's multiple gifts in the body, I think there's multiple gifts in the culture. We have the old heads who, number one, know one thing well. They know how to pray. They know how to sow knowledge. We have us who, in the midst of all the learning and all the adjusting, we know how to operate. I say operate in the aspect of, technology took a crazy turn to where when our parents basically raised us in the world they were raised in, they failed, because at the end of the day, I say fail, they didn't fail, but at the end of the day, like when you look at it, it's like, man, like y'all didn't prepare us for this. There's no way they could have. Who would have known about technology? Who would have known social media would be a thing? And so now you know how to operate these things. So when you have these pastors on the front line, who's the ones behind the camera? You know what I'm saying? Who's the one running the accounts? We're the operators, you know? And then you have the people who are literally so passionate to go to whatever the struggle's at. You know, what if we combined all these things?
Wow. Dude, that is such a word. That is such a word. And I think at the end of the day, we're better together. And I think that you capped it off very well. Well, Street, it was good talking to you. Can you let the people know, where can they find your stuff? Where can they find your rapping, your battles, all of that? Give yourself a plug.
Absolutely. So if you're on YouTube, just look up Street Hymns, spell it the right way, HYMNS, Street Hymns versus VS, and you'll find tons of material on there. I also have music. You can look up LOVE space NINDO, Love Nindo from one of my favorite animes, which is Naruto, which is a way of life. At the end of the day, I want my way of life to be love. So that's why my artist moniker is Love Nindo. And I just love to see people being loved, even though I'm not the greatest lover of people. But you can find me on social media at Love Nindo everywhere. But be sure to check out my battle raps as well. Street Hymns versus anybody. We got a dope team called the Four Horsemen. It's compiled of my boy Loso, my boy Saga, and my boy A Ward, and we're all making an impact in a culture that needs it. So
awesome.
Yeah,
man. Well, I appreciate you, bro, and we got to do this again because there's so much. There's so much that we could have said.
It's a lot.
But yeah, man, I'll be catching you soon.
Absolutely, man. Love you, bro.
Love you too, brother. Yo, that was Street Hymns. That's my brother from another mother. He is amazing. We got to know each other very recently, and he's just been so life-giving to me for the last several months, since January, since I've known him. And I hope it blesses you. And hey, we're going to be putting this material out a lot quicker. We're going to have a lot more of a turnaround. And if you are a fan of The Bachelor, y'all, I got one of my high school buddies that was just on The Bachelor. Listen to Your Heart this last season. And I'm going to be on with him on Thursday at 7 p.m. I'm going to put out a graphic. Got so many voices coming in. A bunch of people, man. They all love Jesus and they have a word for the time. So be blessed. Thank you. This is Homies and Heroes, Season 2, Episode 1. Hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace.